Hello everybody, before we start on this guide, I want to real quickly say thank you for all the recent support on the last two mule deer related videos. The support has been insane, so thank you all so much. And as always, be sure to like the video since that is what helps YouTube recommend this video to potential new viewers. It really is a massive help to me and my channel. But with that being said, let's get straight into this guide video. Alright, so before I show you guys the actual locations that we're going to be looking at in the video, I wanted to real quickly show this map. Most of these locations we have discovered over the past few days from me just kind of looking around on my map, and also I did a live stream a couple days ago where we walked the entire East Coast along with checking some of these other lakes that I never really go to, and we discovered quite a few new mule deer zones. So I actually got a few locations from members of my chat also, so thank you guys for that. It helps out a ton. I honestly couldn't have made this guide without you guys, so I really do appreciate that. But anyway, as you can see, we got quite a few different mule deer locations. The ones in red are going to be the spots that I have actually found mule deer personally. Anything that's in yellow are places that I have heard they can be, but I wasn't able to confirm because there just wasn't any there for my particular map. But everybody's map is different, so there's a good chance that some of you might have mule deer in these yellow zones, but all the red zones are spots that I've been able to find them myself. So we're going to be going over those today. I'm probably not going to walk the entire coast because it does take quite a bit of time to get here, and as you can see, some of these aren't exactly close to lodges, but if you guys are looking for them along the coast, this little section right here seems to be the best. It's really good. There's a lot of locations very close together. There might have even been a fifth here, but I could not confirm if the mule deer that I found there were actually a zone or if they had spooked off from this one, because I was hunting stuff as I went along here. Yeah, you guys are actually going to see some highlights from this particular stream in a couple of days most likely, so stay tuned for that. There was a couple pretty nice water buffalo along here. But yeah, I think what we're going to do now is we will jump straight into the actual map and take a look at all the zones. Alright, so before we go over the actual locations, I feel like we should go over the guns and gear that you're going to want to use first. So I personally would say the M1 is by far the best rifle, just because of the faster follow-up shots. If you have the recoil perks, this thing can be an absolute beast, and it's very good for any time that you're trying to farm for a specific diamond. So it's definitely good because you're going to want to be getting as many animals down as possible, as many mule deer bucks as you can within the shortest amount of time. So the M1 is going to be a very strong contender for best rifle. You can also use the 6.5 along with the solo kin. The 30-30 isn't a very good option, but it can be used also. You can use the 30-06 Eckers, the 7mm, the 45-70, the 270, and I believe the 243 can also take them, but that's about as low as you'd want to go. You could also use handguns if you wanted to. The 44 Magnum, the 357, and the Rhino can all be used. I would highly recommend using the Rhino though if you're going to go with a handgun. But overall, handguns won't be nearly as good as rifles, so you probably won't want to use a handgun for them. And same with bows and shotguns. They're just not going to be good for the whole purpose of farming for mule deer. It'll take way too long to get a bunch of them down if you're using the bows and the shotguns, but obviously if you just want to know some locations for mule deer and don't really care about farming them quickly, feel free to use whatever weapon you feel comfortable with. As far as collars, the only thing that you'll be using is the deer bleat collar. It's the only one that actually calls in mule deer, so that's going to be the one that you'll want to take along with you. You can also bring some scent eliminator if you want to, because, you know, it can reduce the amount of times you spook them, but I don't think it's super necessary. However, the first aid kit is very necessary because of the amount of water buffalo on this map. You don't want to get caught in a situation where you're about to be killed by a water buffalo, because it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun if you die to a water buffalo right as you spot a level 5 mule deer. It's about the last thing that you'd want, so be sure to bring your first aid kits along with you. And as far as gear, the last thing that we're going to talk about is the tents and the tripod stands, because they're going to be pretty vital also. There's a lot of locations that you can't get to from a lodge very quickly, so you're going to want to bring along some tents and place them at all of the good lakes. And then also you're going to want to get tripod stands to reduce hunting pressure, because if you don't have a stand, you can only kill 3 on a zone, because the 4th kill that you get over top of a need zone will delete it, and then that herd of deer will no longer be at that location until you clear the hunting pressure and get the zone to respawn, which can take some time. So you're going to want to bring these along, because it reduces the hunting pressure greatly. You can kill 15 animals in one spot without having any issues with zones disappearing. I would highly recommend bringing these along. But I think that's enough talking about this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual locations. Alright, so as you can see, this is where we are currently. This lake has a couple spots for them. You can get them on this shoreline right here. You can also get them directly across right there. In fact, I do believe I just heard one. And yes, we do have a mule deer call next to us. So these guys are actually in the opposite direction of the lake. They're probably coming into their zone. That's a little dilute right there. Those guys aren't very rare though. But as you guys can see, there's our mule deer coming into their zone right now. Like I was saying, they do drink over here, right to the right of the lodge. And then they also drink directly across from you right here. So this is probably the easiest place to see them, is directly across. I don't have any here at the moment, but in the past I have, so I do know they drink there. And occasionally I've seen them bedding over to the left of us, so there's a chance there might be a third drink zone on that shoreline, but that one I can't confirm, so I'm not gonna make any claims that they actually do drink there. But I have seen it in the past. So, I have a tent over there, which this tent can actually come in handy because it really allows you to see the ones that are to the right of the lodge. You get a really good view of that shore. So it can be very helpful if you're trying to maximize visibility on all of the herds. But you don't have to have this tent here, it just can be helpful sometimes. Next we're going to go over to this lake that's right next to it. This one is one that we actually discovered recently, thanks to everybody in my stream letting me know that this is a spot that you can get them, so thank you guys for that. But they drink right over on this bank. We don't have any here at the moment because we did just recently change the time so that we could get the mule deer to come in, so they're not there yet. But as far as I know, this is the only spot that they actually drink. And as you can see, the zone's actually over here, so I would imagine they can be anywhere along this little tip here. So yeah, be sure to check that area. It's a pretty good one. I have seen mule deer at this lake before, if I remember correctly. I do believe I have in the past, but I haven't seen them recently. So that one might not be a thing anymore, but I do know that I have seen them here before, so be sure to check this one out too. It's pretty close to the lodge, so it's definitely one that you should be able to check out. But as I said, I'm not going to go over there because it's going to take a little while to run to it. So the next one that we're going to head over to is right here. This is one of my favorite mule deer lakes. It's a pretty good one. It's got a couple different spots that you can actually find them that are pretty close together. So right along this shoreline right here is where you're going to be seeing your mule deer. In fact, we got them right there. I only have one zone at the moment, and we actually have two dilutes. I haven't seen two dilutes in the same herd in quite a while. That is pretty awesome, but yeah, as far as I know, this side is the only side of the lake that can have mule deer. And I've only got one zone at the moment, but I'm pretty sure there's a second one very close to that one. So this is going to be your only mule deer areas at this lake, is along this shoreline. And then, like I said before, I'm not going to go along the coastline because that's going to take quite some time. So I think next we're going to move on to a couple of the larger lakes that have them, which are these two in the middle. Eventually we'll get down to this one, which is probably the best lake overall, but first we'll check these out since we're closer to them. When you go to this lake, I have a tent put right in the middle. There is the lodge, which is right here, that you could spawn at, but it's quite the run, so I would highly recommend setting a tent up. It will help you out a ton. And then I have a tent on the other side so I can just quickly fast travel and then run and pick up all of the animals that I've killed. But when you go to this lake, you're going to want to look over to your left. They can actually be kind of out of our sight, which would be over here. They can also be like kind of just barely visible in this little spot. But the main spot that you're going to find them is usually just straight across from you. In fact, we got a mule deer right there and another one right there. So this is going to be the primary spot you'll want to look. Now, in the past, I have seen them over on this bank, and in fact, we got one right there. So this lake's really good for mule deer, as you can see. There's 1, 2, 3 potential spots for them. In fact, it looks like I might actually have 4. Yeah, these are all mule deer, and I know they can be over here. So this actually has 4 different drink zones. So this lake's actually phenomenal for them. Probably one of the better ones. Now, the next one is right next to a lodge at Casita de Sabina. You guys can go to this one pretty easily. And it does have a decent amount of mule deer too. If I remember correctly, I believe, yeah, right here You can get them pretty close. And then I've also seen them right here. And I've seen them pretty much all the way around this lake, to be honest. It's overall just a really good one. As you can see, there's just mule deer everywhere. So this is definitely one of the ones you'll want to check out. There's also a lot of black buck and red deer. Those are very commonly here too, along with axis deer. So overall, this lake's just probably one of the best ones on Parque. As I'm sure a lot of you already know, this is a pretty popular lake for everyone to go to, including people that are relatively new to Call of the Wild. I see a lot of them go to this lake. So it's definitely a really good one. So far we've covered all of these lakes up here. This lake doesn't have anything, neither does this one or this one, or this one, or I believe these two, they don't have them either, or these. So the ones on the outskirts on the left side and the top really don't have anything. But anyway, next we're gonna go down to this lake right here. There is a lodge relatively close, so you will probably want to get this lodge and probably get a tent set up too, because it's gonna save you a lot of time running from place to place, because this is actually a really good mule deer spot, and there's two smaller lakes next to it that have mule deer also. I haven't been to this one in quite some time, so they might have changed some things, but last time I was here, there was 2 different mule deer zones, so as far as I know, this one is still a really good lake for them. But this little lake behind us has a mule deer zone. It's the only mule deer zone on this lake, but this one is really good. But the big lake that we're currently on has some of the most mule deer spots in the entire map. As you can see, we got a bunch of mule deer right there. These guys are just at this little zone. And then you can also get them right here, which we can't actually see them from here, but they're going to be on that shore. So you got the ones here, the ones on the shore. There's also going to be some directly right there, as you guys can see, right in these purple flowers. And then there's also going to be some further down, kind of over there. These guys drink a little bit further up, so they're going to be slightly up the hill. It's one of the few spots where they actually drink away from the actual water. So as you can see, we got mule deer zone there, mule deer zone here, mule deer zone here, here, and here. Just a fantastic area in general. So I'd highly recommend putting your tent in the spot that I've got it. It allows you to get to all of these locations pretty easily and just see everything that you have before deciding to shoot. Gives you the chance to check out all of your herds before you decide to shoot any and spook them off potentially. So just overall, fantastic spot. One of my favorites to go to, and it really makes it so you can kill quite a few mule deer in a very short amount of time. So next we're going to go to this lake. I don't have as much experience with this one. I just recently started looking at it to see if I could find some. And as far as I remember, we did have one mule deer. And I believe it was on this shore right here. On one of these. Oh, that's right. It was actually on this one right here. And it was solo. I already killed it, so I don't know if that zone's even going to exist anymore. Because it was a solo one, so I'm pretty sure it deleted the zone. But it was on this bank right here. So right there is where you'll find mule deer here. I've heard people say in my chat that there is some along this side, but it would take quite a while to scour this area, and I was kind of limited on time yesterday, so just note that there is potentially some more zones around here. But next we're going to go to this lake right here. This one has quite a few spots if I remember correctly. I think the last time I looked through here there was 3. So we'll go ahead and take a little look around here just to confirm that. Well, this lake right here is actually really good for red deer too, and really good for water buffalo as well. And as you can see, we got some mule deer right there. And then we also have mule deer zones along this side. I've seen them over here too, so you've got at least 3 mule deer zones around here, but keep in mind that everybody's map is a little different, as I've said before. Some of us might have one zone while other people will not have it. Because at the end of the day, not everybody will have all of these zones, and everybody's map is a little different, so that is one of the things about Call of the Wild that can make things vary a little bit from person to person. Let's see if we can get a better look at these mule deer. There we go. We have a decent amount of them there. I'm not going to run over there, but there is more mule deer along this side and along this side, and there's always a chance there'll be some at the other parts of the lake too, because they change things from time to time. So by the time you guys see this guide, there could be some new zones around there, but for now, as of July 29th of 2020, these are all of the zones that I've been able to confirm. This one right here is really good too. You actually have a lodge pretty close. Same goes for this lake right here. But anyway, for this one, there's actually a mule deer zone like right where I currently have my tent. I don't really hunt mule deer on Parque too often. I usually stick to SRP, so I'm not really too worried about having my tent here. So you guys might not want to put it in this exact spot, but I would definitely recommend at least getting a tent somewhere around here so you don't have to use the lodge. It is kind of far away. But as you can see, we got a mule deer zone right here on this bank, on the side that you'd be running from if you go to the lodge. They can be right where I'm sitting. I believe I've seen them over here before too, but I don't have a zone here at the moment. They can also be further over in this brush. I've seen them there before. This is another lake that's got a decent amount of them. And I think that about covers everything. Let me take a quick look and make sure we haven't missed anything. But I believe that is indeed all of them. And as I've said before, I haven't been able to confirm anything around this spot. But I think we got pretty much everything covered. Let me know if I missed anything down in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next one. If you are new here and you are liking what you see, consider subscribing to the channel and turning notifications on. Also, if you want to help the channel grow, be sure to like the video because this alone can help the video and my channel do better. But that's going to be it for me. Peace, my dudes. I hope you all have a fantastic day.